welcome to this episode of Peace Talks, where we catch up with the bands that are coming to play for us at the Marr's Bar in Worcester. And today I've got Lyndon Owen with us from the Plague Doctor's Cure All. They're coming up this week. Hi, Lyndon, and thanks for joining us today. A very interesting character. Been looking at your website, Lyndon, and a number of things that stood out there we can talk about today. Let's kick off with kind of yourself and your sort of background. So you're in Bournemouth at the moment.
No, I'm in Aberystwyth at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, you're Aberystwyth at the moment. Okay.
Yeah. But I run a company in Monmouth, so I commute half and half. I kind of split my life between a pro musician and a professional engineer. So, but actually, they all get a bit kind of interlinked and things. So, yeah.
Excellent. Oh, we'll explore some of that later on. So have you kind of lived there all your life, or kind of where are you from originally?
No, I've had a fairly nomadic existence. Actually, I've lived all over the country. In fact, I had something like 4 addresses until about at the age of 8. I used to have a broad rural Gloucestershire accent at the age of 8.
Right.
And then this is kind of a West Midlands accent, but really I identify as being Welsh. But yeah, I've lived in Sweden, and I used to live in Iran and Spain and the States. But yeah, and I've had lots of different addresses all around the UK. So interesting wandering lifestyle, which probably matches in with my kind of attitude to free impro and experimental music and everything else in life. Play it by ear.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic, and it's varied. Certainly, some of the projects, because you've got the musically, you've got the Coltrane dedication project you've got, and is it
Ada Snow? Well, that's kind of diminished now. That was a band I just did. There's a duo with Caractacus Downs from Monmouth, old mate of mine, and we did this kind of world jazz impro thing. But it's really recently that's becoming practical. The main bands really are Plague Doctor's Cure All, Coltrane Dedication, which is a full-on jazz quintet. I do a thing called Toru, which is a free impro quartet down to duo, according to what we're doing. I do a fair amount of spontaneous film music, silent film music.
Okay.
And that's part of that Toru group for very strange improvisers. And then I do various collective gigs. I run a thing called Now at Aberystwyth. I don't know if you know Rodri Davis, the avant-garde Welsh harp player. He runs he's big meat, is Rodri. Keeps going all over the world, burning harps, putting them with pliers and things. He's a great guy. And he runs something called Now at Abertawe, and the whole idea is experimental music and poetry. So I managed to get we're mates, so I said, well, why don't I become Now at Aberystwyth? And there's Now at Hay as well. But the whole thing I'm doing here is a series of monthly gigs, second Tuesday of every month, really presenting very left to centre experimental music and poetry, just trying to create an audience. And for Marks, we're getting a growing audience month on month, so it's really good. Yeah,
that's grand. Yeah, because you were associated. There's music in Monmouth.
I still am the chair of music in Monmouth to the extent it exists, but we just lost the venue.
Was that the Queen's Head? Because
the Queen's Head.
I saw you playing a couple of times at the Queen's Head.
Yeah, we did Queen's Head 18 years we did. And it's something like we put 1,700 gigs on in that time.
Wow, that's brilliant.
And everything was free, and I mean it was world class. We had people coming from the States, from Australia, from all over Europe playing there. It was on the list of gigs to play for your CV if it was a bit weird.
Fantastic.
But I'm also helping out. There's a guy called Owen Adams in the Forest of Dean, and he's kind of taken up the mantle because the Queen's has just gone as a venue. It's not just they stopped doing what we were doing, and within a month the whole place collapsed.
Oh no!
So the pub itself has gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been
Oh,
permanently shut since about 4 weeks after what we did.
oh no.
Because the guy replaced it with the new landlord replaced it with cover bands and discos, and guess what? He found it far too expensive, and all it was the same as everything else going on in Monmouth.
Yeah.
So it just depleted the market and was unsustainable, and yeah, attracted a load of bad lads and destroyed the venue, and it's shut its doors and never opened since. So that's been gone since about November. So there's nothing
Oh,
in
right.
Monmouth. But anyway, this guy Owen Adams from the Forest, he's taken up the mantle. Him and a few other guys. They call themselves Foist Presents Unusual Sounds, and they're
Brilliant.
doing twice monthly stuff in Newnham, the pub in
Okay.
Newnham. Yeah, and it's great. We Plague Doctors played the first gig there, and we had about 80 people turning up, and it's on a pay what you can basis, much the same as yours.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's doing a real good job there. So I'm just helping him with some programming and a bit of PR like that, I guess.
Brilliant.
tick that box this morning.
Ah, no, that's grand. And so, yeah, musically, kind of. So I believe you studied jazz at Manchester. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, my history with music, I've always been kind of into music. When I was a kid, I
Hmm.
started on clarinet. By the age of 14, I thought, oh, that's not very cool. So I took up electric bass. And yeah, I married a singer when I was 19, and that was the end of my music career. And I did the sensible thing, of course, and I focused on my engineering studies. And I didn't blow an instrument or play any instrument for about 10 or 11 years after that. And then all that went astray, and I bought a crappy old saxophone, started playing a little bit. And then I've always been in this kind of get an idea, create a company. So it's always small, high tech, tends to be high growth, very high risk. And the risk was bad in 1993, especially with the commercial environment, and everything went bust. A lot went personally
Hmm.
bankrupt, all the companies went bankrupt. And I walked away with a hat and a saxophone.
Ah.
Uh, and then this very same year,
That's what you need for busking, isn't it? A hat and a
yeah,
saxophone.
well, yeah, it's a good start. Yeah. I mean, the real tragedy was I got some friends up in West Yorkshire who said they'd put me up. So I was hitching from the business was in Brynmouth, um, well, up in the valleys. So I was hitching from Brynmouth to West Yorkshire. I lost my hat at Keel Services.
Oh no.
So
Yeah,
all I had left was the saxophone.
that's with the saxophone.
So you get that, but there was I pretty soon discovered a local pub, and where I was living was Sorby Bridge, which is halfway between Leeds and Manchester. And there was a few guys there who were putting live alternative music on. And I walked in there and I heard completely free jazz for the first time in my life, live, which is when you need to hear it. And I walked in there and I thought, didn't understand it at all, but I got the energy and I thought, actually, I like this. This is really quite profound and important.
Hmm?
And it changed my life, And it was the fact that I could walk in there and make an informed decision. And ever
Right.
since, all the stuff I do in terms of promotion is trying to put alternative stuff on a platform for people to then make the informed
Yeah.
decision. Because, you hear it talk, I know what I like. No, you don't, because the
Yes.
first time you heard that, you hadn't heard it, had you?
Yeah. Precisely.
So
Precisely
so you
right. Yeah.
didn't know you liked it before you heard it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I accept the weirder stuff is difficult, but I've put the time into opera, and I don't like opera because I don't like the sound of the human voice in that way. But I have understood that you can't just go 3 minutes, yeah, that's all right. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I've been to 2 or 3 performances. I don't like it. It's it's an
Yeah.
informed, but I know it's a high form of art, and I respect it, and it's really good, and I know other people get it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other thing I think of with promoting experimental music is that if that's the mainstream, and I'm doing something over there, just out of screen over there, or maybe way out there, what it does is, okay, everybody's not going to buy into this, but it allows them to go there instead
Yeah,
of sitting in this channel, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
And
yeah. I
there's
like that.
many examples of people that have started coming to the gigs that I've been putting on who've gone, oh yeah, all that normal stuff's pretty boring. You know, I've
Well,
often
it's
had,
yeah,
Lyndon, blame you. We're not content with the
yeah.
normal stuff, you know, the cover bands and everything else. Nothing wrong with them, but stop keep churning it out all the while,
It's
please.
it's it's definitely exactly as you say. It's you've got to kind of throw yourself at it and have a listen and then like you say, make your own mind up. If you don't like it,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
like it. But it's really it's surprising, I suppose, but comforting as well. The number of people that have come along. I mean, there's a doorman there. There's a guy who's operating the cameras, and he says, "Oh, I hate jazz." You know, before he sort of set
mm,
up his cameras, and then halfway through the gig, I went to see how he's getting on. I go, this is all right, this isn't it? It's kind of
yeah,
it does have there's a lot of preconceptions about music, and um, it's yeah. I mean, I'd probably be guilty of the same with sort of heavy rock. It just doesn't float my boat. But then there's a lot of jazz rock fusion stuff that I really really like.
yeah.
So
Well,
it's
that's the problem. The problem is that for the labels as well, you know, because
yeah,
yeah, it's been the bane of my life, this word jazz. And as soon as you say jazz, everybody has their own preconception of it, you know.
exactly,
And a lot of people immediately think of trad, which great guys, that's music, that's 100-year-old music, you know.
exactly. Yes, yes,
1917. And
yeah,
then a lot of people go, oh yeah, you know, bebop. No, it's and yeah, I've, for me, jazz has always been this spirit of okay, improvising, but finding the new.
mm.
And you know, what bands am I in? Yeah, okay, I can call the Coltrane thing a jazz band because actually it uses later Coltrane tunes. But we're not copyist, we're not tribute. You know, we just use those heads and take off. And the great thing is, as a master musician, there, the head's quite simple. You know, anybody can play them. It's what you do with them and
Yeah,
how you
yeah,
work the night. You know, so it is about of the moment. And I guess for me, that's what most music is. I do compose, but most of the time, because I write film music and I've done some tunes,
hmm
but most of the time, I like the of the moment. And you know, having an audience there is part of the formula. I have a huge collection of music, and a lot of the freeform stuff I never listen to because it's all about being there and being part of it rather
yeah,
than the recorded thing. Yeah, it kind of loses what it's about, really. You know,
yeah, yeah. I suppose
there it goes.
in the past, I don't know, was the recorded records, the albums and such were almost the invitation to go and see them live,
Yeah, yeah,
or the
yeah,
takeaway souvenir of that gig that you had. Yeah, but the
yeah,
live performance in the room is really kind of where it all happens, isn't it? And it's
yeah.
where
To
the
the
magic
point,
happens.
there's if I think about what stuff I've got recorded that I actually listen to, that's a bit exciting from a live perspective. Um, there's only about 6 or 7 pieces I can think of. I mean, Bob Marley live at the Lyceum, for example. What
Mhm.
a great live record that is. I've got a lovely Muddy Waters thing, which is an audience to die for. I don't know if you've ever been to a Chicago blues club, but the audience are more important than the band as far as I can see. Just
Right.
everybody screaming and wailing at every single word uttered. And you know, the guitar solo is actually puts everybody in a frenzy how they just build and build and build. It's just
Mm.
such a delight because that's what it's about. It's not
Yeah.
about here's a load of dots,
Yeah.
here's a load of notes in a sequence that, you know, yeah, you might like the feel of or not. This is real visceral, get down there stuff, you know. And all the freeform stuff that I actually listen to on a regular or more often than not listen to tends to be solo artists because you can actually feel, I think, that they're almost at a one-to-one with you and you get the emotional
Okay.
feel. You can be part of that.
Mm. So your main, I suppose your main instrument is saxophone, certainly with the play doctors.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
got an EWI. I was fascinated with that in my teens when they first came out, because everything was
yeah,
becoming MIDI controllers in the 80s, wasn't it?
yeah,
You had the
yeah.
guitar
Anyway,
MIDI
yeah.
controllers.
I consider it as a toy, really. It's not. Well, yeah. I mean, I use it to, but I find it very limited. In well, okay. The range of sounds you can get is virtually unlimited.
Mm,
Um, but in terms of attack, I find it a bit sluggish. We're only talking milliseconds, so I use it as a sound effect really, or as a
mm.
setup for the band, and I think it works. But it generally comes across as the big sweeping chorus kind of background filler. I rarely
Yeah,
solo. Yeah, if I want something punchy, I'll pick up essentially what is a proper instrument. I'm playing tenor and alto at the moment, mostly, I think, in that context. I was playing soprano, but it doesn't kind of cut with the electric setup that we've got.
yeah.
Despite my soprano being a bit edgy compared to most stainless steel mouthpiece and black nickel plated soprano. Yeah, it cuts like a knife. It's not your reedy young Garbarek thing, which
Right. Okay.
well, everybody's got their sound, haven't they? But
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, no, that's what I do in the Plague Doctors. But yeah, I play lots of other blowy things. I play Spanish bagpipes. Paul Dunmore gave me all these Bulgarian bagpipes, which are lovely.
Wow.
Um, they're a bit of an issue. They're goat skin, but they put the hairs on the inside. They don't shave them. And Paul's been blowing down there for about 20 years before he gave them to me. So goodness knows what primal soup there is inside. The motto is "Don't suck." And then, yeah, before doing this, actually, I've got my taragato over there, which is national wind instrument of Hungary.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you, because I saw lots of interesting. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting instrument because they got, silencers on guns,
Right.
so yeah. Well, the
I didn't
same
notice that.
principle they got with Tarragota, they got holes in there. I don't know if you can see the holes
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that's to reduce the harshness somewhat. But I'm a big fan of Peter Brotsman, who sadly died last year, and yeah, he used to play the Tarragota. That's what got me interested in it, and it's
Is that
yeah. So
similar
I
to
always say it sounds
clarinet, or
like an
is?
adenoidal goose.
Oh.
But I'll be playing that down here on Monday. I'm doing a freeform gig with Ash Cook from Bangor. He's an anti-guitarist, and an Aberystwyth poet, Gareth Roberts. So that'll be an interesting. We're doing 3 duets and a trio at the end of it. So
Ah,
everybody
cool.
playing with everybody, and it's a complete improv gig. So that'll be nice.
Yeah. No,
Well,
I
no,
noticed. I noticed from your website there's quite a few interesting instruments that I've not heard of. That being one of them there.
yeah, yeah, I
You
do.
mentioned you spent some time in Iran. Was that
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that kind of influence some of that?
Well, I get it. Put it like that, and I get the even though Iran is not Arabic Italian, but I get the Arabic scales, and
Hmm.
I get the funny timings that you get from kind of Turkish influence as well as Arabic influence. Um, and it's, unless you get involved with this, you don't know about it. You just think, oh, that sounds Eastern. But in Iran, everything's got 6 beats to the bar, whereas Arabic is 4, for example. Things like this. Didn't know that,
Right.
did you?
Yeah. Cool.
And I like the Bulgarian stuff. It's all 9, but it's not 3 lots of 3 at all. So that's why that's got the. So I like all those little things going on.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, I play. Turkish instrument called the May, which is like, but also I play the Armenian duduk, and the duduk is, yeah, that's a real nice individual sound. In fact, the UNESCO identified it as one of the sounds needing to be preserved for humanity because it's so
Oh,
individual.
there you go.
Yeah, you can't play a happy tune on it. It's yeah. Most people have heard it in what was that? Oh, Gladiator. There's
Oh,
the film
okay.
Gladiator. It's that kind of haunting, kind of slow, reflective sound. It's a great sound. It's peak to play. The reed's about that wide, and
Oh,
it's a
wow.
double reed. It's about that long, and it's about that wide. And yeah, kills your chops.
Suffer for your art. You suffer for your.
Yeah, yeah. And then I play, well, clarinet. So I've got bass clarinet. I'll be playing that on Monday. And yeah, lots of little fiddle flutes, you know, there's all sorts of flutes from all over the world. So it's generally blowy things, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
fantastic.
well, as people have been doing for at least 40,000 years, as the oldest fluty instrument is 40,000 years old. It's a
Wow.
board vulture bone, you know, so
Oh well.
with finger holes on it. So
Yeah, cool. So you mentioned the your engineering sort of background, and I was looking at the company you've got, E2L,
yeah,
which was particularly of interest to me because you've got a couple of products there that you produce for sort of music products for people with dementia.
yeah,
Uh,
sure,
Talk
sure.
about that for a bit.
Yeah, of course I can. Very pleased to actually. Uh, it's music and dementia. Very people give it lip service because they don't know. Um, but actually, if I mean, yes, test the world. If I asked you what you thought proper music was, or the most important music to you, it's probably what came in the formative years of between the age of 15 and 25.
Yeah, yeah,
Whether you intellectually want to believe that or not is a different
yeah. It
question.
is.
Well, most people talk about, oh yeah, I mean, when did I grow up? When was proper music? Automatically you remember the music of, for me, late 70s, early 80s. A
Mm.
lot of people, older people go, oh yeah, 60s, that was the best music in the world, 70s, that was the best music, simply because that was when they became switched on and that's when they made these big memories. If you find somebody with dementia um, and identify the music they listened to around that age that they liked, and you play that to them, they can become instantly a lot more cognizant, a lot more lucid. It's a temporary effect, but it's a mechanism that engages people. There's some lovely videos on YouTube about a guy called Henry. If anybody ever wants to look up Henry and dementia, this guy's just closed down like this, in a nursing home. He's been there for 8 years, and he's basically head down, arms folded, and that's it. And somebody comes along, one of the carers sticks an iPod on him and plays some of his tunes. And this guy's a real Cab Calloway fan. And he starts just talking about it. He says, yeah, I love music, man. It's great. And
Oh,
starts having this complete conversation, And then he starts singing Cab
wow.
Calloway. It's just tremendous. And so that's kind of the mechanism between why is music important to people with dementia. Then the next problem you've got is a functional one, and that is, what do you play music on these days? Well, give somebody an iPad or something. No chance of that.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of people with dementia have enough trouble with CDs. That's a relatively new technology because they've lost their recent memory thing.
Mm.
And a lot of people aren't aware. Actually, Parkinson's is a form of dementia, and with
Mhm.
things like Parkinson's, changing knobs and things like that
Yeah.
is a real problem. So as designers, what we did was take on the mantle of. We worked in conjunction with a technical charity down in Bath called Designability. They were the Bath Institute of Medical Engineering, and they did some field trials for us on this. But basically, we've developed our main selling product is a simple music player, which is actually an MP3 player, which looks like a 60s radio.
Metro radio. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Love,
look, it
love the
just
design.
looks.
Very
Yeah,
simple. Yeah.
so you look at it, and for people of a certain age, or even if you're older than that, because we're all into the retro stuff, you go, yeah,
It's
that's a
instantly recognizable. Yeah.
there's no chance it's anything else. It's not a toaster, it's not it's not a book. But we basically have this philosophy of simplifying everything as much as possible anyway, regardless of whether it's for dementia or not.
Mm.
To make things simple is a very difficult design task.
Yes.
The whole world, particularly the capitalist world, keeps adding more and more functionality in order to justify a new model and a new cost. We're not really into that. What we want to do is make stuff that helps people. I don't mind making a profit out of it, but the primary objection is to make it right. So you remember the old radiograms where you used to,
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. My dad had one of those. Yeah,
pick up the lid, put the record on, you know.
that's right. Yeah.
Right, well, ours has got a lid. It's an MP3 player. Friends and family load the music in there. Pick up the lid, starts playing. Put the lid down, stops.
Brilliant.
And the only other thing is under the lid, there's a big round black button. If you want to hit that, if you're cognizant enough to know what that does, next track.
Okay.
Yeah, and underneath, friends, there's two buttons, increase and decrease volume, but friends and family do that because a lot of people with dementia, there's a lot of things you've got to design into that. A lot of people with dementia get quite angry and frustrated with things and smash things up or fiddle all the while with things. So what we don't want them to do is change the volume by accident.
Right.
Because either next time it's too loud, so they don't want it, or it's too quiet, so it doesn't work, you know. So you have to press and hold a button for 5 seconds before it starts changing anything. And they're sunken buttons, they're not, you have to have a pen or something to do it. So
Right.
things like that, and all little odd bits of design, you know, where the speaker grill is, we put a big wire mesh behind there because a lot of people with dementia get aggressive and smash it up. And where the lid lifts up, you know, if you hit it, it actually comes off as opposed to break, all those kind of stuff. So that's a really successful product. We've sold over 65,000 of them. We export 84% of our product.
Wow.
Just shipping a container load to Australia this month. And yeah, Brexit has made things so easy for us. Yeah, but that's coming back to that's what we call our mid-range dementia product. It's for people who are kind of losing their ability to actually engage with oh, I fancy some music, you know. So we then have two other dementia-related music products. One is early stage dementia. We make a radio. Now, the difference with the radio is you can't control the content, of course, but for earlier stage dementia, it's really about not confusing the amount of controls. You look at a DAB radio these days, they've got 8 or 10 buttons on them, haven't they? You know, and it's all that kind of stuff. What we've done is made a DAB radio with a secret panel. So again, friends and family can set up the channels. But actually, once that secret panel's shut, you've got a big volume knob. You've got on, off, and then you've got channels 1, 2, or 3. That's it.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah.
Which you can't buy on the market anymore, you know.
No, no.
That used to be every car radio, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that came to mind as soon as you said that. It was a car radio. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for really late stage where, you know, people just haven't got any well, it's such a terrible disease. They just switch off. You know, it's like one step off comatose, really. People who just shut down. There's research for something called doll therapy, which basically, if you have something to care for, particularly with women, but actually it works for men as well. If you have an item that you can associate with and it's yours, and you can care for, it actually is some form of comfort. So what we've done is taken the MP3 concept, stuck it inside of a teddy bear.
This is your Arthur
Bear, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, again, from a designer's point of view, we've done this thing. We have the fur specially made, so it has tactile properties, and the feet are different. And you do all the things people don't think about, like the eyes and the nose are sewn. They're not buttons that are going to be pulled up, all this kind of stuff. And we put weights in its backside, so it sits heavy.
Yeah.
And so that heaviness has a comfort about it. But yeah, carers or friends and family, all they have to do is squeeze the paw, and again it will play those preloaded tunes and switch off after 30 minutes, and it's, you know, it's nice. Brilliant. It works. Yeah. So those are our kind of 3 dementia products. We have a couple more. We have a bedside light which helps reduce sleep anxiety. So you can, you know, a lot of people sleep with the light on in nursing homes and stuff because it's a weird environment for them. They haven't been there for the past 30 years, have they? So they wake up in this foreign environment and they're scared, or some nurse comes in every 4 hours to see if you're all right, but some stranger keeps walking in the room.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we developed this little lighting platform, which is, it looks like a slab, so thick, with a very, very low level of light on it. And you can put your specs, your glass of water, your pills, your hearing aid on there.
Fantastic.
Have all the lights switched off, but that's immediately your soft focus when you wake up. You don't suffer from the night blindness of switching a table lamp on, things like that. So we do lots of stuff with it. Yeah, but that's obviously not music related.
No, that's fantastic. So, Lyndon, let's talk about the Plague Doctors then. Plague Doctors Cure All.
Yeah.
Interesting name, obviously, of the band, and I think it came about sort of around the COVID period, didn't it, or just after? So, yeah, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's an Anglo-Cymraeg band, Clodactoriaid and Gwethlpod Clefyd, if you're this side of the border. Yeah, Plague Doctors Cure All Ills in Welsh. It's a better translation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because I come from the free experimental world. Well, it's a four-piece, electric four-piece for those who don't know us. So we've got Will Cass on guitar, Andy Goodall on drums, and Liam Lee Hines on bass, and myself on blowy things, Iwi and tenor sax mostly. And yeah, I come from the free experimental thing, and the other three guys have really come out of that rocky poppy sort of thing. And I kind of wrote some tunes during COVID, like everybody did. Not that I was particularly convinced. I just wanted a working band on that level, and for me doing something different in terms of working with an electric band. And we all got together and we said, well, I said I've got a few tunes, but let's just have a jam. And we started jamming. We haven't finished yet. We haven't looked at a single tune.
I love it.
Yeah, so we're actually we're a completely improvising jazz rock band, I suppose. Or you tell me. This is the trouble, as soon as you start putting labels to it, I'm sure you can't describe what we are.
No,
there's funk in it. There's rock. There's
there
jazz.
is, yeah.
There's impro. It's basically four musicians having a great time working together, and it always grooves.
It does, yeah.
People get it, and you get the energy of that fly-by-wire kind of seat of your pants kind of thing. But fortunately, we're locked into each other enough to just have a great time, and the audience comes with us. And, I don't think we've ever had a bad gig, actually. We just everything is high energy. We're always exhausted afterwards, so I mean that's always a good sign. It's not just
yeah.
turn up on the day. Oh yeah, just done a gig, Who cares? We really care, And we've played some really wonderful gigs, I mean, we've played at the Marr Bar. We supported Toolshed, the Tool tribute band, and
yeah. Now my friend Tim, he's a big Tool fan, and yeah, I told him that because I think I'm not sure if I would have been at the Marr Bar for a few months then, but because it was October, wasn't it? I think 2022.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's one of the people that came along and sort of said, "Oh, I'm not really into jazz that much," and now he's a member. He's a signed up member. I think he was our first signed up member. He loves it. So yeah. If you like that heavy stuff, if you're watching this, and
yeah, we could do the heavy stuff. That's the thing. And it's always loud and exciting. It's not
yeah. Not for the
seventh sharp 11 there, I think. So it's not that fella. Yeah, it's really nice. The energy really is there, and yeah, we're always pleased. We're always looking forward to every gig. I mean, it is such a musically fulfilling thing for us. And we've been picked up by various things that make it feel legit, if you like. I mean, Music Fest Aberystwyth, their big music festival, they suddenly had a little bit of money for four jazz acts, for want of a better word. They chose us as the crossover thing to talk to the kids with, and we had that was fantastic. Very big for us, and it was great, and that took off. It sounds a bit Aberystwyth-centric, but no, they just happened to be the case because I
Yeah,
was around, put my face doing other stuff,
yeah.
I'd put some productions on in Aberystwyth. And then, yeah, we've been playing places like the Mars Bar, the Moon in Cardiff, the pub in Newport, places like that, we're getting there. But really, it's a festival band. We need festivals, and we've done a few of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, I've seen you played a
We
few
go in
last year,
that,
didn't you?
yeah, we go in that direction, but it's that's everybody's in competition and we're getting there. It's
Hmm.
just a case we're on that journey and it seems to be happening. But
You
musically,
you played the Worcester Music Festival last year, didn't you? Was
yeah,
that the
yeah.
gig at the Spin the Black Circle, wasn't it?
In the Blast Circle, yeah, that was an absolute blast. I'm amazed that the floor stayed up. Actually, I mean, the crowd was jumping so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I was in there for that because Liam was playing. I don't know, he played about 9 bands that weekend, didn't he?
yeah, yeah,
He was all
yeah,
over the place.
yeah.
Um,
Like horse muck all over the road.
I saw. So
Um,
yeah, I first saw Liam because I started going to the Mars Bar in I think it was probably about April was the first time I actually because I only moved up this way in
mm,
2018 and it was I think it was April of 2022 that I first went up there to see a band and then I heard about
mm,
the jam night and so yeah the first time I saw Liam he was leaping around on stage with his band and doing some jam with a really heavy rock sort of feel to it.
mm.
I thought, there's a character here, and then
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and then I was yeah, he spent quite a bit of time up there. He's there most weeks and doing all sorts of
Mm,
stuff. And he's doing some really interesting stuff with his sort of solo bass with his pedals and loops and stuff.
yeah. Well, I put him on this experimental thing I'm doing in ABBA. I put him on one night doing his solo looping stuff.
Yeah.
And I interjected it with the thing I'd done during COVID for a piece written for audience called the Sonic Fruit and Veg Machine, which involved people putting fruit and veg on oscillators. And it was those bad nights. And then I had Liam back on it, so it was a nice contrasted evening. It was good fun. Yeah,
Yeah, brilliant. And
yeah.
then Will Cass on guitar. I'm not. I've only seen them in the Plague Doctors. Will and
All
Andy.
right, now Will.
What's their background? Where are they from?
Well, Will's lives in Chepstow now.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, he's lived in Hereford area most of his life, and Monmouth. That's where we met because I used to run a jam night at the Queen's Head,
Yeah.
and he'd just come out of college and wanted, to play some jazz, to crack that jazz thing, So
Mm.
that's how we met and started playing. But actually, he plays in the Coltrane dedication now.
Ah, okay.
There used to be a two sax lineup, and now it's sax and guitar. He's filling that role. But Will's had he's had a good career. He used to play in a metal band called Cypher 16,
Hmm.
toured the States and China and places,
Wow.
put his time in. And yeah, I mean, he's a stunning guitarist. And he's also got his own, he's a good singer-songwriter. He's got his own thing, Will Cass and the Ill-Fated. He's doing a few gigs with which is very much a singer-songwriter, Americana influence thing,
Hmm.
So his brush is broad.
Yeah.
Stunningly good guitarist,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
the band, yeah, the Plague Doctor's Cure All, the band was handpicked. It was came out of a few, I knew me and Will wanted to do something together. We talked about the right drummer and the right bass player. I mean, we both knew Liam independently.
Mm.
Liam was the right guy, and Andy from Bristol, yeah, just stunning drummer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, to finish off the set, Andy's a Bristol player. He's toured a lot in his life in various forms. He's settled down a bit. Everybody gets tired of the big touring thing. I mean, he's touring Europe all the while, and doesn't particularly want to live in the back of a bus anymore.
Yeah.
But stunningly good drummer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's our Scottish boy. So
Okay.
we got Welsh, Scottish, and two English here. So it's a
Fantastic.
mix of a band. Yeah. We watched the rugby together, tolerating. Oh, I was thinking it's Wales, Scotland this evening. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Oh, grand. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing the band play again, and I'm really looking forward to the audience at the Mars Bar perhaps catching them for the first time and
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
feedback from them on coming down to get cured of all their winter ailments that
yeah.
everyone's
Open
suffering with this
surgery,
time of year.
open surgery. That's what it is.
Open surgery. Ah, fantastic. So yeah, yeah.
It's a great platform actually because all the tunes are improvised, so you don't know what they are. So I just talk a load of rubbish making up the titles, but you can have all these kind of bring back coughing, you know, don't eat blue meat, don't come round our house.
Fantastic,
We
fantastic.
do, we had this thing in a venue called a Coops, and we didn't have a rubber stamp for the door, so we just got a big red pen and did a cross on people's hands. You're cured.
Ah, that's great. I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's great
So
to
are
have
we.
you on our
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
And so yeah, safe trip over to the Mars Bar in Worcester on Thursday. That's Thursday, the 8th of February, and we'll see you there, Lyndon, with your fantastic band.
Cheers, Dave. Wonderful.